Let's get started. Create a new composition. Go to Composition, click New. Rename it Particles. For this composition, I'm using 300 by 300 pixels. Frame per second is 25 and duration of this composition is 10 seconds. Click OK. Now go to Toolbar and select Ellipse tool. Double-click to Ellipse tool and add a new shape layer. Go to Ellipse 1. Hide Stroke property. Go to Fill property. Change its color from red to white. Go to Transform. And change its scale to 54 and 83. And change rotation to 0 and -35. Again, create a new composition. Rename it Flames 1. Size for this composition is 1000 by 1000 pixels. Click OK. Go to Project window and drag Particles Comp to the timeline. Hide its visibility. Right-click on the timeline and add a black solid layer. Rename it to BG. Click OK. Again, add a solid layer. And rename it to Particles 1. Go to Effects and Presets and go to Trapcode. Add a particular effect to this layer. Go to Emitter. Change emitter type to Sphere. Change its position to 707, 696 and 0. Now change its velocity to -10. Change emitter size X, Y and Z to 20. Now go to Particles. Change life per second to 1.8. Change life random to 100%. Now change sphere feather to 0. And also change size to 70. Change size over life, using presets. Go to Physics section, and go to Air. Change Wind X and Wind Y to -150 each. Now go to Turbulence field. Change effect size to 10. Duplicate this layer, by pressing Ctrl D. Rename it to Particles 2. Go to Emitter. And change particles per second to 80. Change position to 548, 740 and 0. Change velocity to 0. And change velocity random to 50%. Now change emitter X, Y and Z to 150. Increase random seed a little bit. Go to Particles. Change life per second to 6. and change life random to 0%. Change particle type to sprite colorize. And go to texture and select layer from none to particles. Change time sampling to current time. Go to rotation. And change random rotation to 3. Now change size from 70 to 30. Change size random to 100%. Change size over life, using Draw a Curve tool. Also change color from white to black. Go to Physics, and go to Air. Change spin amplitude to 10. Change wind X to -128. And wind Y to -175. Now go to Turbulence field and change effect size to 0. And change effect position to 200. Go to Particles layer. And click Collapse Transformations. Now duplicate Particles 2 layer, by pressing Ctrl D. Rename it to Particles 3. Go to Emitter. And change position to 748, 565 and 0. Now go to Physics section and go to Air. Change wind X to -252. Create a new composition, and rename it Flames 2. Go to Project window and drag Flames 1 comp to the timeline. Now add a white solid layer to this composition. And move it below the Flame 1 layer. Change its track matte, to Luma Matte Flames 1. Now go to Composition and create a new comp. Rename it to Final. Change the size of this comp to 1280 by 720 pixels. Right-click on the timeline and add a solid layer to this composition. Rename it to BG. Change its color to 352, 93 and 19. Go to Project window and drag Flames 2 comp to the timeline. rename it to Layer 1. Go to Effects and Presets, and add a tint effect to this layer. Change the color of matte black to 16, 100 and 100. Change matte white color to 16, 100 and 100. Go to this layer and open Transform. Change its position to 690 and 462. Now change scale to 130. Duplicate this layer by pressing Ctrl D. Rename it to Layer 2. Go to Transform and change its position to 892 and 530. Now change its scale to 80. And also change rotation to 0 and 16 degrees. Again duplicate this layer by pressing Ctrl D. Go to Transform and change its position to 602 and 552. Now change its scale to 120. And also change rotation to 0 degrees. Again duplicate this layer by pressing Ctrl D. Go to Tint Effect and change its matte black and matte white color to 27, 100 and 100. Go to Transform and change its position to 620 and 550. Now change its scale to 90. Again duplicate this layer by pressing Ctrl D. Go to Transform and change its position to 800 and 535. Now change its scale to 90. Change its rotation to 4. Again duplicate this layer by pressing Ctrl D. Go to Tint Effect and change its matte black and matte white color to 47, 58 and 100. Go to Transform and change its position to 810 and 560. Now change its scale to 75. Change its rotation to 1. Again duplicate this layer by pressing Ctrl D. Go to Transform and change its position to 685 and 620. Now change its scale to 60. Change its rotation to -1. Again duplicate this layer by pressing Ctrl D. Go to Transform and change its position to 810 and 690. Now add a solid layer to the timeline. Go to Effects and Presets, and go to Trapcode. Add a particular effect to this layer. Change its mode from normal to add. Go to Emitter. Change particles per second to 400. Change emit type to sphere. Change its position to 802, 627 and 0. Now change its velocity to 25. And change emitter size Z to 2000. Go to Particles. Change Life Random to 100%. Change Sphere Feather to 0. Now change Size to 2. And Size Random to 100%. Also change Size over Life, using presets. Now change Opacity Random to 100%. Change Set Color to over Life. And change the color, using preset. Now change first color to 41, 70 and 100. Change its second color to 25, 86 and 50. Now change last color to 14, 100 and 100. Change blend mode from normal to add. Go to Physics and go to Air. Change spin amplitude to 20. Now change wind X to -115 and wind Y to -140. Go to Turbulence field and change effect position to 250. Now add an adjustment layer to this composition and rename it to Glow. Go to Effects and Presets. And add a glow effect to this layer. Change glow radius to 100% and change glow intensity to 0.8. Add a black solid layer to this comp. Go to Toolbar and double-click on Ellipse tool, to add a mask on this layer. Change mask mode from Add to Subtract. Open Mask property. Change Mask Feather to 300. Also change the mode of this layer from normal to color burn. Lastly, add an adjustment layer to this comp and rename it to CC. Now add a curves effect to this layer. Change the color channel as per your need. Now play this animation to check. That is folks for today. I hope you liked tutorial of fire animation, using Trapcode Particular. If you like this tutorial, please click the like button. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe to it. Thank you and have a nice day.